Sana kwa sana Sunday sessions, another edition kwa the usual Sunday conversations na discussions that si huwa nazo on this 30th day of January 2022. But kama kawaida jinsi huwa tunauliza what is time, right? Anyway, karibu sana. Haya, tuko set sasa. I was typing and pinning a comment, so tunaweza anza shughuli ya leo. Lord Kiruthi, ni aje? Tuko hapa for the Spotify controversy. Umekuwa kwa news recently doing what is typical of Spotify, nothing new. Wameweza kukua kwa headlines za habari, lakini before that, kama kawaida, kama ilivyo ada hapa kwa sana tukifanyanga hizi sessions, huanza na a recap of the week that was up until sai, since tuchekiane mara ya mwisho last weekend. Brilliant conversation, beautiful engagement and interactions. The Grand Slam 2021, courtesy of Creative Spills in Slam Africa, had just happened the previous day, Saturday. So tukiwa live discuss tukiangalia the journey ya Poetry Slam Africa, the experiences, what your platform imemanisha for Kenyan poetry, Kenyan spoken word, Kenyan arts and culture. It's a landmark, and that's undeniable. Up until point here, Grand Slam 2021, whereby Ian Guagi wa Creative Spills, prior to the event, alistate itakuwa the final one. We even read post yenye alimake on Facebook tukimaliza the live that captures sentiments zile alikuwa na share akiongelea journey ya Slam Africa, na ni aje wamefika to a point where wana close hiyo chapter wakisubiri the other chapter. When and if that will happen hatujui. Alisema wana hope itakuwa bigger and better once Slam Africa imereturn, lakini kwa sasa that Grand Slam ya 2021 which will happen in 2020 ndio ilikuwa tamati ya chapter ya Poetry Slam Africa. Tulisoma pia the previous Slam champions kuanzia mwanzo hadi the 65th mwenye ni Slim Shaka, the latest, the most recent, as part of our conversation. Tuki detail, tuki account the journey itself, as I've stated, up until hii place yenye Slim Shaka ameichukua the 65th, lakini kutaja the 64 wenye walikuja before him. That was a very engaging session. Tuli have so much fun. Babu ameungana nasi, alitujoin a bit later, tulikuwa tusha get into the discussion, but ilikuwa beautiful sana. Tulikuwa na Ivy Robi who joined. Ivy Robi amekuwa integral kwa hizi live sessions. Alikuwa na sisi kwa the first one ever, the first ever live session kwa sana yenye ilikuwa a random video. Randomness has given birth to a lot of things apart sana kwa sana. Na kwa maisha yangu tulikuwa tunaongelea rap and hip hop as inspired by Lupe Fiasco akidiscuss Aesop Rock. So that video inspired me kuja live na kuongelea Kenyan rap and complex writers na watu huwa na unique diction in Kenyan rap, na whether that's something that intrigues listeners, amongst other topics that zili come up when we got into the discussion. Lakini the point ni Ivy Robi joined randomly pia, tuka have a beautiful discussion. Hiyo ilikuwa ya kwanza. Ni aje Kafu haoni game ama timu yako ilichujwa? Bado iko. Nashuku timu yako bado iko Africa Cup. Anyway, so Robi alitujoin, tukaongelea Slam Africa experiences zake, as well as other aspects of Slam Africa in its entirety. After that, another Slama, Lexus Mshairi, aliungana nasi pia, akashare experience yake ya kuslam jinsi ilivyokuwa, kisha tukakamilisha, tukakuwa na a culmination where alituperformia piece yenye ilikuwa afanya piece yake ya 3 kwa slam, lakini since alitoka around 2 hakuweza kuifanya, lakini akaweza kuiperform. Nimeongelea Robi ametokea, this is so beautiful. Kafu, nilishuku timu yako bado iko, Team Senegal. Sawa. So Lexus akatu performia piece yake that was supposed to be his 3rd, lakini juu alichujwa, as I've stated, hakuweza kuifanya on stage. Hazel, ni aje? My people are here, asante sana. Ilikuwa amazing sana. I hope today Hazel will be here for the conversation. Juu tunaongelea Spotify, na najua mnajua story ya Spotify, though najua Hazel ni mtu wa Deezer, lakini najua Robi na Babu ni watu wa Spotify. Lord, yako ni gani? Are you also a Spotify person? Ni mtu wa Spotify ama Deezer ama Apple ama none of the above? Ama ni mtu wa Boomplay ama Mdundo ama SoundCloud? I use all of them since mziki ni kazi yangu, nazitumianga zote. Lord, what's yours? So tuko hapa kuongelea Spotify, but nilikuwa nafanya the usual recap before tuendelee na mazungumzo ya leo. So that conversation was an amazing one. End up tumeongea for 3 hours. 3 hours. That usually happens at this point, na nimeisema mara kadhaa, si surprising. Tunakanga hivi tuki-expect nitaongea for half an hour ama 1 hour, alafu we end up staying here for hours and hours. But that's the beauty that resides here. If you've watched my latest post up hivi on Instagram ya mziki ya wiki number 74, then the beauty resides here reference unaipata. You should check out that blog post for today. Amazing music. So that was a beautiful experience and conversation last week that tulikuwa nayo. check it out if you haven't. Najua Hazel was here, akahepa akarudi. Robbie alikuwa hapa part of the conversation, nimemtaja before join. Babu came through baadaye, Lord Kirudhi ako hapa ametujoin leo. Pata muda, if you're interested, you check out. If you're watching this on YouTube na hujaiona, you check out pia. Such an amazing conversation na ina capture history ya Kenyan spoken word, ina capture the experience ya Kenyan spoken word, Kenyan poetry, and what imemanisha for different persons. And I feel that's very important to experience, that's very important to capture na ku underscore as a community. Now that is the only thing that happened since then. Hiyo ilikuwa last Sunday up until today, nothing else may happen in between. I shared that video on YouTube, alafu nikaunda the usual playlist that we usually create. I did that, nikaishare on Apple, which is Lord Kirudhi's platform and you prefer kutumia, on Deezer for Hazel, and on Spotify for Mtuka Babo na Ivy Robbie watu wa Spotify, which brings us to today's discussion, or part of today's discussion. Spotify again. Then we shall get into MWE. So this will be amazing. So nilikuwa on Twitter jana majuzi, what's time anyway, jana majuzi, alafu that chaotic space, that's Twitter, the one and only, nikaona a tweet from an American music journalist mwenye nimefuata for years now, na ni yeye ameinspire what MWE is. I know unaweza kuwa una watch na ujui what MWE is or what it's about, but if you see the title, it's music writer exercise. So the name of the journalist ni Gary Suarez. Nimemfollow for years now, I believe since 2019, na tweet yake ndio nilicheki, na ilikuwa inasema Spotify isn't a music streaming service anymore. Then nikapitia few responses, akasema it's this, alisema one, it's a sandwich shop, as jokes akirespond to people who are asking. So of course by now ushakuwa na other responses, but so kuna msajuliza media production company, akasema pizzeria, akauliza when did you find out over cocktails, msemini akauliza what is it, akasema donut shop, what is it, sandwich shop. So hizo ndo responses alikuwa ameshare earlier, but siku understand where this was going. My initial thought ilikuwa that this is the usual banter and or the usual complaint that imekuwa raised before this moment kuhusu Spotify ikikuja to music delivery na how as a streaming service na how they treat artists kwa their platform. So I didn't get into it until what happened, nikajua kile ilifanyika. There is, sijui kama ni an article that I came across after that, but or was it kwa, actually najua what happened, I saw this kwa IG ya Anthony Fantano aka The Needle Drop. Alikuwa anaongelea how bad Spotify has become na whatever has happened imekuwa the last straw, na ameamua he is no longer paying for the service anymore. Ameachana nayo juu imefika kiwango ambacho imekithiri sana na ako done. So that now ilifanya nianze kucheki articles regarding the same, so going online na kutafuta articles kuhusu kile kinafanyika, kupata more context, get context ya hiyo tweet that nilikuwa nimecheki hours before nikadhani ni the usual complaints, and even the fact that it's a usual complaint makes it worse. Then nikaona articles kuhusu kile ilikuwa imehappen. So once again Spotify inajipata in the middle of controversy. So Neil Young, Canadian singer-songwriter, a legend, a huge artist, alizusha kuhusu Joe Rogan, who's been at the center of controversy a number of times katika career yake. So Neil Young alikuwa na complain that mbona wana allow Joe Rogan akuwe na episodes kwa podcast yake where ana spread misinformation kuhusu corona and COVID-19, na alikuwa anasema the misinformation inafanya watu wana lose their lives juu ya COVID, while this can be prevented if watu watakosa kusikiza hizi messages, if such messages didn't even exist in the first place, na watu wakuwe held accountable, na watu wawe responsible for the statements that they make regarding vaccines and COVID-19. Niaje Hazel, COVID-19 conspiracy, since you are over the other end, you get the reference. So Neil Young, based on that, akapea Spotify ultimatum, akawambia ni either Joe Rogan or Neil Young, you can't have both. Obviously alijua what alikuwa anafanya, alijua what the ultimatum itamanisha pia for Spotify, Joe Rogan is one of their pillars. Na nilikuwa nasoma an article earlier that ili share more details kuhusu the deal that Spotify had with Joe Rogan in 2020 wakichukua podcast yake. I knew kulikuwa na a deal. Babo is typing a dramatic comment. Rogan is an asshole or a fucking alt-right or a fucking moron or fascist. So kuna comment nilikuwa nimecheki ya Kafu before niambie ni mtu wa Senegal, alisema nitakutafuta kodo, bless kazi mzuka. Haya, unajua mahali unaweza nipata, sababu anasema Rogan is a fucking fascist. So the details sikuwa najua about when it comes to deal yake na Spotify. Nilijua tu alikuwa na deal na Spotify kuhusu podcast yake. IG refused me sending all of it. They've reported me. Uko serious? I can see that. Najua hizi platforms na censorship. Hazel, hi once again. Censorship, controversies, conspiracies. I can see that happening, babu. So nilikuwa nasoma kwa hiyo article, ndio nikapata more details kuhusu how much the deal was for. $100 million. Yani 2020. Na I think when that year ended, alikuwa responsible for 4.5% of Spotify's listenership. That is crazy. That is so crazy. I was in awe. Mtu mmoja. So that in itself ili change trajectory ya Spotify. Babu anasema yeah, I got a strike. Yeah, IG haichezi. They pay him more than they pay top most artists. They do. So that ilibadilisha trajectory ya Spotify. Vile nimesema, wamekuwa kwa headlines for long, wakiwa na contests, contention na wasanii kuhusu kuwalipa, which Babu pia anaongelea, and au kuget into podcasting na kuweka podcasts as the main consumption, what do I call it, form of content. Podcast as the main form of content. Watu wanaweza consume, wameziweka at the forefront, they promote them more than anything else. Ilibadilisha trajectory yao. They did that deliberately, ndio wapate more viewership, more listenership, wapate more numbers, wapate more subscriptions. That has been their MO for quite some time. Imekuwa part of the reasons wamekuwa in contention na wasanii. Yes, Babu pia anasema consumed product. That's the product, that's the service that wameka at the forefront na wana promote sana. So this in itself imeleta commotion na wasanii wengi. Now on top of that, kuna hiyo deal na Rogan, and then kuna au kutolipa wasanii vizuri na kupatia wasanii peanuts. So nikisema wamekuwa kwa headlines for quite some time now, hizi issues za kulipa wasanii ndio zimekuwa at the center of it all. Wasanii kupata pesa kidogo, unless wewe ni msanii mkubwa sana na uko na streams nyingi, millions and millions, ndio utapata something substantial. Otherwise, unaweza kuwa na streams, people can share their Spotify wrapped lists at the end of every year. Unaweza kuwa na improved numbers, increased listeners, lakini kama hupati millions of streams, revenue ni kidogo sana. Tumeongelea story ya sustainability ya hizi streaming platforms and the music industry, the systems that are there before, especially for Kenyan artists, na Kakusha Venetia kwa one of the lives that tumefanya na yeye, na tuli get into hii idea ya kuongelea streaming platforms na kile zinamaanisha for wasanii na the amount of money revenue that zinawapatia, na tunajua si sustainable. Ni amazing for exposure, amazing for getting your music to various audiences, watu tofauti, and availability of the music, na kupatia watu access to your content, to your art. Lakini upande wa hela ni hela kidogo sana. Si ati hizi streaming platforms zingine are any better, juu streaming in itself, unless wewe ni msanii mkubwa na una the numbers, hela unazopata ni hela kidogo sana. Kwa hivyo, kwa hiyo discussion ya sustainability ya mziki kwa muktadha yetu kama wa Kenya na wasanii wa Kenya na creatives wa Kenya, tulikuwa tunazungumzia other alternatives zile wasanii wanaweza jaribu ili wajisustain. Lakini streaming ni for hizo purposes that nimemention, unless wewe ni msanii mkubwa ndio utapata hela kutoka kwa easy platforms. So podcasts zinakuwa foregrounded, zinapewa priority more than anything. They did with Rogan. So Neil Young came in a few 2 or so days ago akizusha na akasema ana spread misinformation kuhusu COVID-19, kuhusu vaccines, na watu wana end up wana dead, wana lose their lives irresponsible. So ultimatum akapea Spotify, aliwaambia either or mimi ama Rogan. Obviously hizi kwa Neil Young, it had to be Rogan, anabring do nyingi sana. The ultimatum ilikuwa watoe music yake from the platform. So that has happened. So ukitaka discography na catalog ya Neil Young, utafute kwa hata streaming platforms. So mtu ka Lord ako lucky ka Lord ni fan wa Neil Young, ama angetaka kumsikiza juu ni nani anaweza access kazi zake bado. So discography yake imetolewa. Kwa the article I was reading, there was only one album that was available, which was a live album ya 1980 something I think, lakini everything else imeenda either uipate kwa other platforms ama kwa website yake, unless you owned the music previously. Then after that, another Canadian singer and songwriter and instrumentalist, Johnny Mitchell, akajoin Neil Young in solidarity of the same. Yeye pia ultimatum na akaambia atoe music yake from Spotify, so the same pia imehappen. Na hawa ni wasanii wakubwa wenye they bring a lot of listeners to Spotify's platform, so inawa affect sana. And up until now, since kwanza kuwa na this furore, kumekuwa na a decrease in the number of subscribers on Spotify. Babu najua bado uko Spotify, si ndio? At least hizo hizi story ya azikugusi. So numbers zao za subscribers zimereduce juu ya hizi story. Over time, controversy za kutolipa wasanii ni vitu ni aje Hagai. Kwanza Hagai ndio mtu wa Spotify mbaya. Also the time they didn't pull down R. Kelly's music, so kumekuwa na a number of times Spotify imekuwa kwa spotlight for the wrong reasons. Johnny Mitchell, vile nimesema, yeye pia music yake ikatolewa, na these are artists wenye wana pull in numbers in a crazy way to the point that it affect revenue that Spotify itapata. Now wasanii wengine hawezi afford kupulio move, whether ni big artists, hi babu or small artists or whatever tier or level uko in kwa artistry yako, kwa career yako, depending on the numbers you're bringing. Regardless, many artists cannot do that. Now for wasanii wenye hawana numbers kubwa, some can't do that because hawana other platforms that wanaweza tumia. Unaweza kuwa uko na Apple, uko na your own YouTube, uko na Deezer, lakini Spotify is still a huge platform, streaming service for a lot of people wenye uitumia ku access muziki. So utapata kuna watu wenye watumii hizi platforms zimemention for music, but they use and prefer Spotify, so utakuwa umefungia hiyo market ku access. Apart from that, wasanii wenye hawana hiyo leverage, hiyo power, hiyo privilege ya kutoa their music from this platform, also ni because now regardless of whether you're small, big, whatever tier you are in, the artists don't own the rights za their music. So hii inamaanisha kuna companies and labels that own the rights za the music. So unaweza pata msanii ni mkubwa sana, yes, globally, lakini ha own the rights to muziki yake. The label ina own the rights to the music, ama the whatever publishing company does that. Therefore, au ndio wana publish the music, au ndio wana eka the music on hizi platforms. And so huwezi toka tu kwenye huko na ukuje useme let me remove my music from this platform. You don't have that power, hauna hiyo capability, you have own rights za muziki yako. So hata kani msanii mkubwa inaweza kosa kujalisha unless una own the rights to the music, una own hiyo mziki ndio uwe able kuitoa from the platform. If you want to be in solidarity na Neil Young na Johnny Mitchell, and kukuwa in solidarity na artists wenye wamekuwa wakicomplain for years kuhusu vile Spotify imekuwa ikitreat wasanii upande wa revenue, upande wa kuwapatia hela na vile wanawalipa. Hii si mara ya kwanza nimeona Spotify ikiwa at the center of these controversies and these discussions. I have seen a number of videos on YouTube regarding the same, articles nyingi sana regarding the same. Kuna time nilikuwa naandika an article which I never finished, nikachana nayo, kuhusu COVID-19 na vile wasanii walikuwa wana adapt to the new environment of COVID in relation to music and performances, streaming, etc. And Babo amemention Erykah Badu, alikuwa one of the artists I referred to kwa hiyo article. Erykah Badu alikuwa amecome up na a partnership na kampuni fulani ya streaming where ulikuwa unalipa a certain amount of money you access the stream, not just streaming live on YouTube, which you can still get money from watu kudonatea via the super chat feature or kustream on kitu kama Instagram. Alipartner na a streaming platform, ulikuwa unalipa ndio access the concerts. You can check out those concerts on YouTube. Kuna watu walikuwa wanazi screen record na walikuwa wanazishare on YouTube, lakini when that ina happen, ukumbuke watu walikuwa washalipia ndio access. So from $1 to $5 to whatever amount, ilikuwa inapea wasanii a different outlook ya how you can approach your art, how unaweza earn during the time ya COVID where hakuna shows, watu wa perform na wauzi music as an alternative means to still do what you love and earn from it. So Erykah alikuwa one of the artists wenye nilikuwa na highlight kwa hiyo article that I never completed but inagusia kile nilikuwa nazungumza juu. Kwa hiyo article pia wasanii walikuwa wamecome up in arms again kuzusha about Spotify. So this has been ongoing for a long time up until now, ndo tusikie Neil Young and Johnny Mitchell and other artists wa kuje na wa complain juu kumekuwa pia na a lot of writers wameandika about this entire situation. Publications kadhaa zimefeature this story wakipeana their perspectives depending on the writers who are telling their stories and writing the think pieces, as well as other artists too who've shared their sentiments regarding the entire circumstance. So it's one of those moments again, na tunangoja kuona how this ita affect the trajectory ya Spotify na journey ya wasanii. Though vile nimesema, for a majority of artists hawana hiyo luxury ya kutoa music yao from the platform, and so itaendelea kukua another cycle up until something else ifanyike, because of the accessibility that the platform imegrant. How wasanii hawezi afford kutoa their music there, itawa hurt more than itawasaidia, unless una come up na your platform yenye una ensure ni sustainable for you. Lakini for every new platform that were developed, ni ngumu sana kumake your transition na ubring watu on board juu wamezoea platform fulani yenye tayari wanajua na iko more established than your platform, especially kama huna the big numbers. If you're a Neil Young, tayari you have those platforms and systems, you have your own website, etc. Kina Johnny Mitchell, they do. All these artists wenye wako na that ability and they own their stuff, wanaweza ifanya. For a majority, not necessarily. So Babu anasema Erykah Badu and Kendrick Lamar threatened them during the Kelly time. They were against them pulling his music down, or they were against them pulling his music down. Ah, hmm. Inapeleka mind yangu to discussions za even the MJs, for example, the MJs, the R. Kellys, jaribu kumbuka other celebs na musicians who've been in the same situations. None is coming to mind. So the other tweet I'm seeing here is a thread ningependa kuwasomea by Gary Suarez still. Anasema Spotify did what Amazon did back in the day. Acha niwasomee hii thread. It built a business selling one product, music, books, to get people on board before expanding. If you think Spotify is gonna cut loose its biggest property on a lucrative podcast portfolio over a few grumpy musicians, revisit history. Spotify took a hit this week, both in PR and market value, but it's looking with a longer view than that. It will require more than aged Lauren Canyon stars to stop cold hard capitalism and its sick love affair with bad actors like Joe Rogan. We all know the center of humanity's problem, especially in recent history, is and has been capitalism. Then anasema stunts like Neil Young's, admirable though they may be, are still just stunts. Stunts aren't movements, and unless Rogan goes so far enough times as to truly threaten Spotify's bottom line in an existential way, then it will take a movement to get him off that service. If you really wanted to get Joe Rogan off Spotify, you'd go after the advertisers and podcast content partners. Imagine if people were calling out The Ringer, for example, for being exclusive to the Spotify platform that also houses Rogan's show, and then called out the sponsors. End of the thread. So this touches on a number of aspects kuhusu such moments happening, whether kunaweza kuwa na actual change that steers various developments that will be progressive to the complainants, watu wenye wana raise concerns flani kuhusu a service, a product. Whenever such things happen, the bottom line ni if huwezi pull the main source of funding from that service provider, from that product owner, ni ngumu sana ku make the impact that watu wangetaka wa make. Na Gary Suarez underscore easy concerns sana, and watu wenye ni advertisers na their content partners au kukuwa the people who matter, apart from watu ku complain na ku raise certain concerns regarding the same. Now I'll also read you an article. This feels like I'm presenting in class. Please class, please, if you have a question, if you have a comment, or if you have nothing to say, this is an online platform. You can press the like button or not. You can comment with anything, whether it's rational or otherwise. Feel free tafadhali. Inafeel kind of present a lecture kwa class. So in the article nilikuwa na refer to, hii ni kwa The Guardian. I've read others kwa other platforms too, Podcasts were meant to revive Spotify. Now it's on the culture war frontline by Dorian Linsky on The Guardian. Thank you. Whoever is pressing that like button, thank you. So, asante to Hazel, Babu na Kiruthi kwa kuwa hapa. Neil Young versus Joe Rogan is a PR disaster and a sign the digital platform has lost its way. So kuna wako in agreement na Gary Suarez kuhusu the PR disaster that this has been for Spotify, and this has happened a number of times. Babo says exactly, capitalists are only moved when you hit their bottom line. That's the only way. That's the only way vitu zinaweza kuwa affected. So veteran musician Neil Young delivered an ultimatum to Spotify after podcast presenter Joe Rogan spread misinformation about COVID-19. I'll read some imperative paragraphs for us. Until last week, Spotify using fans of Neil Young could access a vast 54-year catalog of songs which attracted more than 6 million listeners a month. What I was saying, if you're not a Neil Young, huwezi afford kutoka tu ati unaishia na hasira yako. Umsa na pull 6 million listeners in a month. What's life? Now all that remains are appearances and compilations, and for some reason a 1989 live album kile nilikuwa naongelea earlier. Enraged by what he saw as the promotion of life-threatening COVID misinformation on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, the Canadian singer-songwriter issued an ultimatum. They can have Rogan or Young, not both. So as Young surely knew, Spotify's choice was a foregone conclusion. Rogan's show, which the streaming service acquired for $100 million in 2020. You know, I read that nikapose kwanza. $100 million. I was sitting alafu nilikuwa na imagine kwanza tu 100 million by itself. So I didn't go to imagine even the dollar part. This is my poverty speaking. This is my level of being destitute. That is what's doing the thinking here. Sasa nikajiambia upewe tu 100 million, nipewe mita 100, alafu tutoe taxes, baki ka 80 ama ka 70 or whatever amount itabaki. Still it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You know, sometimes sijui kama unakanga unafikiria the amount of wealth and money that circulates in the world. It is crazy. It's bizarre. Sijui if that ever crosses. Just think. Nafikiria the amount of money that Amazon is making as we are here speaking. The amount of money that IG is making as we are here speaking and using their platform. What's life? So nilikuwa na imagine mtu anipatie mita so niuze sana kwa sana. Nipeane everything sana kwa sana kama nitapeana. What do you think I would do? Niambie kwa comment. Babo says itabaki 84 million. Itabaki somewhere there. tell me, to sell or not to sell sana kwa sana. If you know someone who can offer that opportunity, mwambie akuje, then tujaribu tuone what we'll do. In the meantime, tell me what you think I would do in that situation. So the service acquired for 100 ili acquire podcast yake for $100 million in 2020 time ya COVID. People are still making mula. Ukiko hapo mtaa umesota, unalialia kuna wera, una ganji, hey, making a killing. People are making a killing. No, babu, give it up completely, not partner. Mtu akuja niambie ndio hii mitaso moja tupatie sana kwa sana, everything sana kwa sana. What do you think I will do? Hazel, use your imagination. Gwanzo kwa hapa ametujoin. Gwanzo ni mtu wa Spotify ama Apple ama Deezer ama Boomplay ama Mdundo. Dan, niambie pia what you think based on your interactions with this platform. Rogan's show so is its most popular podcast. Now, the other part that ilifanya ni pause nifikirie maisha, kuna hiyo part ya Neil Young ku attract 6 million listeners a month. Kuna part ya $100 million for Joe Rogan's podcast. Now, nilisema hiyo story ya 4.5%, but the podcast iko na an average listenership of 11 million per episode. Once again, what is life? 11 million per episode. What makes you think watatoa umse kwa your platform? This is their biggest pull. As in, hizi numbers in its first month, kumbe taikuwa year, so in its first month it accounted for 4.5% of all podcast listening on Spotify worldwide. Do you know how bizarre these numbers are, Yani? What the hell? Well, for Spotify, which is banking on podcasts to drive subscriptions, he is a star of the magnitude of Adele. So, Adele, the other name that he may come up for those stars that have the numbers. Besides that, ukumbuke kuna advertisers na kuna other partners wenye wana fund the podcast, and the content partners wenye wana make all of this happen. The podcast itself kukuwa pushed and budget kuwekwa pale make more visible, etc. Kuna hizi factors zingine that zinachangia, lakini still the numbers are bizarre. So so vile tumeestablish, unless unaweza wa hit where it hurts na ufike at the core, hakuna kile inaweza happen kutoa umse kwa hiyo platform na the pool that ako nayo juu kuna sponsors behind the podcast. What's life? What is life? So Babu alikuwa na argue that you won't, and you know why my answer is that it is not even objective. Babu anasema sitapeana sana kwa sana. Babu, I do not know why you think this way. Kill the ads. The ads go, and then 11 million is just a number. Then I feel like nothing will change for you, and what I mean by that is you'll still keep doing what you do. Just richer. I love this class participation. Babu agrees na his anasema, oh yes. Love this class participation. So so part of the crux of the matter ni he has also become explosively controversial. Young's walkout, followed later in the week by Johnny Mitchell's exit in solidarity, was prompted by an open letter calling on Spotify to counter COVID misinformation after Rogan recorded an interview with Dr. Robert Malone, a virologist who has become a right-wing media star for his opposition to vaccines. The Director General of the WHO, which is the World Health Organization, tweeted in support of Young's boycott. We all have a role to play to end this pandemic and infodemic. Neil Young pia alicomplain kuhusu quality. Alisema yeye ametoka Spotify, amewachia pia their shitty quality. Some people won't care or know about quality, because these platforms huko na quality tofauti ukizisikiza. And then in the opposition corner, this is another paragraph after Young's paragraph. This is also important. What's more, he can afford to take the considerable financial hit. He has a loyal fan base that will pay for top dollar box sets and subscriptions to his website archive. Regarding Neil Young, last year he sold 50% of the rights to his catalog to the investment fund Hypnosis for a reported $150 million. We should test Babu's hypothesis. Babu, Hazel, Dan, Guanzu, kama mnajua mtu akona mita 100, mwambie nitafute, mwambie what my platform is about, alafu mwambie ni offer, tuone what will happen. Babu says also there are so many people like him. All that number is his people. Yes, very very accurate. Kuna watu wenye wana share in the alt-right extremist views that anazo, hence the listenership na ile reach yenye akonayo as part of the number. Then Rogan, a former comedian and martial artist who has recorded close to 1,800 episodes on Mob since launching his podcast in 2009. His guests have included Kanye West, Elon Musk, Quentin Tarantino, and Bernie Sanders. But he has also entertained figures from the alt-right, such as the conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, the Proud Boys co-founder Gavin McInnes, siko sure that is pronounced, and the provocateur Milo Yiannopoulos. Rogan's politics are broadly contrarian with the rightward skew. He is a bullish libertarian who initially backed Sanders in the 2020 election but ended up preferring Donald Trump to Joe Biden. So, I'll skip over some paragraphs. See your Spotify compare Rogan na rappers. After saying how they have removed over 20,000 podcast episodes related to COVID since the start of the pandemic. Because this is a spokesperson. The CEO akasema not Rogan's though. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek has framed his hands-off approach as an anti-censorship issue, telling US news website Axios last year that Rogan was not different to big-name rapper. And we don't dictate what they're putting in their songs either. Musicians have had an ambivalent relationship with Spotify since its launch in 2011. Some are grateful. Jimmy saved the music industry after a decade of piracy. Alafu, while some claim its measly royalty rates favor only the megastar elite, which Nime mentioned. Kisha, the pandemic has re-energized its critics. Abruptly deprived of concert income, many artists looked again at their royalty statements and demanded a fairer deal. I think this is what I was writing about for the article, which never saw the light of day because my laziness didn't allow me to complete writing it. It was a well-researched article, at least I think. So 2 more paragraphs. While still the largest streaming service by far, Spotify has been slowly losing market share to its rivals. Podcasts were meant to reverse that slide, but they could make things worse by thrusting Spotify onto the culture war frontline. While the company has presumably calculated that the financial benefit of sticking with Rogan outweighs the reputational cost, many users have cancelled their premium subscriptions. The company's bullshit is just too much to bear now, tweeted the popular YouTube music critic Anthony Fantano. I mentioned seeing post yake on IG that made me look for easy articles. The backlash is calling into question what exactly Spotify has become or was all along. The US musician Damon Krukowski tweeted that Spotify are not in the music business. They're a tech platform, and however they can get people to spend more time on the platform, that's where they will go. Spotify is not interested in the future of music. The big question, when we create a Sunday session playlist for today, do we put one on Spotify? So that is why the title of this was Spotify again, or Spotify again, Spotify again, but hakuwa na question mark hapo. So hayo ndio masaibu yaliyoibuka kutokana na Spotify siku kadhaa zilizopita, masaa kadhaa iliyopita. Did you know about this? That's the Spotify drama. Haya, so class imekata kuniambia whether they knew about this Spotify story or not. Tutatumia hiyo segue juu tumeongelea Gary Suarez, tumesoma tweets zake kuhusu history ya Spotify and the capitalism involved na possibilities za change or lack thereof. tunaweza itumia as a segue into discussing MWE or talking about an MWE kidogo as the last segment, then to get into Sunday Sessions playlist yetu ya kumaliza hii shughuli. Not even sure if I have any song to suggest, but anyway, Hazel alishapenda list yake ya 10 weeks to come. Last week alimaliza mangoma. Babu didn't have a song for us last week. Alikuwa tu anakuwa distracted na Bambi. So nimesema nimejua kuhusu Gary Suarez since 2018-2019. Time nilikuwa na get kujua, might have been even before, but hapa ndakuwa nadanganya, but actually could have been before, so maybe 2018-19 or before. But point nasema ni, while getting to read kazi za other music writers, other music journalists, other music critics, one of the names nilikama across ilikuwa Gary Suarez. Then nikaanza ku check out articles zake zile ameandika na kusoma kazi zake on Twitter. Kisha in 2019, maybe a day before the challenge, ama 3 days in or 2, I discovered kuhusu MWE. Hazel says, I have a list for today as long as you stop bullying me. Nakubuli. Wanze kuninini, wanze kunianika on Twitter, wanze kupull receipts za mi kukubuli in years to come. Maybe nitakuwa nimepewa deal ya 100M, alafu we na Babu mwenye kupull receipts za mi kuwa bully kwa hizi lives etc. Niambie if I should apologize as early as now. Msini cancel in future when I'm making my money. Mmesikia? Babu anasema, in all honesty, no one has ever cared when Rogan came for almost everyone. Now I don't even care. Whatever happens, let white people fight on their own. Even if Spotify takes him out, it will be too... I believe Babu is still typing. So, nilikuwa nasema vile nilijua Gary Suarez na nikajua kuhusu MWE. MWE ina stand for Music Writer Exercise, which iko kwa title ya hii video. Hey, Mr. Orato, kwa mara ya kwanza. Karibu sana sir. A slight digression, ukiniallow. But Orato ameenda, so nitangoja hatudi hapa. Amepotea. I wanted to ask him something. Kwa hapa. A slight digression, if you allow, my dear viewer. Na Babu na Hazel, mmekuwa hapa na mimi. Orato, I saw you ranting about an event uli attend jana. Ilikuwa ni comment. I was about to type my comment, nikasema acha ni withhold. Alafu nikaona ulizusha vibaya sana kuhusu the event and storytelling that panders to white people. Kuliendaje event yenye ulikuwa? Tell us more, tupatie drama, give us something juicy for this live tafadhali. ulirant kusio show. Babu, I thought you were still typing your sentiment. Ulimaliza? Ama ilikuwa in suspense? if it is pia nimekupata, even if Spotify takes him out, it will be to alama ya dukuduku. Hazel says, who's to say I don't have the millions you're looking for? Hazel, let us not waste any more time in our relationship. Tafadhali, show me this money, then let me make the decision. Tujue kawe na babu mlikuwa right. Show me this money, tafadhali, make the offer in official writing and documents. Watoto wanasema still here like sin. So yeah, storytelling is shit. Total waste of time, really, and my money. My first reaction when I saw the poster, nilikuwa najiambia, wish I could have known about this event. Maybe ninge show up. Maybe ilikuwa FOMO, as we call it. Lakini kasema maybe singeenda. I was out the week before Lavalate, tukenda Gecko. Lavalate for Paza Sauti's launch at their anthology. Then Gecko for a jazz performance by New York to Nairobi Ensemble. Then last week Slam. So hii weekend nikasema acha nikae kwa nyumba. So maybe singeenda, but hiyo ilikuwa my first reaction. Then nikasoma caption yako, ulikuwa umekasirika mbaya. So Babo alimanza statement yake kumba ikuwa akitwa cha in suspense. Even if Spotify takes him out, it will be to protect the bottom line. I will just mind my business. Spotify just go to Africa. They didn't even think we were worth any sort of revenue. Africans are being killed by this pandemic because no one cares. I am far too removed from the fact that is happening in Spotify currently. You need to respond to kile nilikuwa nimesema kama kulikuwa na any info on history ya Spotify. Then ako wapi nani sentiments za watu wanasema storytelling is shit, and then anasema storytelling as an art form in its current form, or the lovely people handling it, are too willing to pander to white audiences. Most of it is quite patronizing to the same white audience. To the same white audiences. We had an interesting conversation during Slam in Ngatia. Not necessarily on storytelling, lakini something to do with writing and the why question you're writing, and the why that inspires how to not tell our stories the way we do. One of the things that came up ilikuwa idea ya language. Obviously, it's an eternal conversation. Another one ilikuwa making your story palatable, you want to call it so, kwa wale watu wenye kwa your geographical context. New story kwa local, regional, relatable, lakini bado iwe able to appeal to global audiences and therefore attract them to whatever it is unafanya, attract them to your story and maybe place it kwa their platforms, give it an award, give it a news feature, etc. So ni interesting that this is coming up. Imenipeleka to that conversation that nilikuwa nayo na Ngatia. So should we discuss storytelling on one of these days? Na any discussion intense. And najua Orato experience a lot of productions za stories, a lot, I know, a lot, similar to Babu. In fact amekuwa part of storytelling productions, so this can be an amazing discussion to have on one of these Sundays on storytelling. Na ningetaka tu tuko na Babu na Orato for that discussion, and the shy Hazel whom I am bullying and atapull the records in future unless anipatie mita yangu so moja na documents na aprofa an offer who is also a storyteller. So ni intriguing that storytelling ime come up na the live iko full of watu wenye wako na experience na storytelling. Very intriguing. Storytelling. Oh, you can soma. So Babu says storytelling as performing is to cater to white people. They wanna make blackness palatable. I agree, CC. I feel some of these artists are also hoping to score sponsorship of some sort from these curious white folk. It's always about sponsorship. It's always about agreeability. Is that a word? Agreeableness. Yo, grammar Nazis mko hapa watatu. Which is which? It's always about getting the bag. Getting the bag. Hazel, mita 100. Getting the bag. Then nasema Babu says of course. Yeah, we should. So it hijack this platform. Na Orato hapa kunanga pressure. Kunanga pressure. Tunafaa kuongea hiyo storytelling. Wenye tu mko hapa hivi wewe, Babu na Hazel. Wenye tu tuko hivi. Tuongelee storytelling. If you're in, nipe tu a thumbs up kwa comment section. Alafu I should schedule that. Schedule. Am I colonized enough? Colonial jokes. On this 100 million thing, do I talk to my mom? She will be delighted. Do you want? Do you want 13 children who are worse than me? Babu, the idea here is your mom anunue sana kwa sana. That's the deal. Mistake anything else. I can deal on the table hivi 100M. Alafu this is between us. Kina Roger, Sam, Musoti out of this deal. Na iuza bila kujua. Wanashanga mbona reviews kuja zifanyikangi. Mbona nimefungua another platform. This is between us. This is amongst us. So Hazel amenipea thumbs up 5 na emojis za 100 ka tatu in fact. Babu amesema I am in. Dare your lazy ass forget. Sawa. Storytelling. Haya. Tuta set it up. Orato says I am okay with the hustle, but surely how stories are presented by these fools is not how stories were related to us growing up. Orato tayari ashaanza ku drop points zake on this live. Orato, hold your horses. We shall schedule. I am playing with my whiteness. Siko sure if it should be British and it's a schedule or ni feel niggerish, niseme schedule, not sure. I can be an amazing comedian, I think. I'm a satirist, which is which again? I am getting high in my own supply, colonized enough to be discovered. My mother is a white woman in every way. She will buy you. Amazing. I want to be discovered. Rato moved from lovely people to fools. Fast. Very fast. 0 to 100. The transition was real quick. Juu earlier ilikuwa storytelling as an art form in its current form, or the lovely people handling it. Sahi, very quick, the true feelings imetokea, presented by these fools. Griot Nyagadhanga, another storyteller. Nini ina happen? Another storyteller in our midst. Romy Swahili, another storyteller. We can also throw Romy Swahili kwa your discussion ya storytelling. I am sure Babu will be glad about it. Orato would not flinch. Hazel, sijui if you know Romy, but I'm sure if you do, utamkubalia pia kwa the discussion. My people, thumbs up pia if we should also add Romy Swahili to our discussion ya storytelling. Hata kama juu tumediscuss before, tutamhanda na tutamuita kwa hii discussion when that should happen. Na to schedule a Sunday evening for this live discussion on storytelling. Let's hijack Romy into this. Yeah, just avoid storytelling. Avoid storytelling. Storytellers assemble. Vibaya sana. The show would have been better if I was drunk. Damn the COVID vaccine. Ulikuwa sober through storytelling shenanigans. In fact, when we have that conversation, tutaanza tuna hiyo point kwanza ya hiyo show. He's the one that got away. He is. Not break my heart on a live. Romy, you got away. I misread the situation. My excitement got in the way. Romy, storytelling. Ngatia, Ahsante, and good to do it better than anyone ever, and do as it should be. I want to get into the first time I saw Ahsante perform at Gote during event ya, was it not lest we forget, ama we won't forget, ama we will never forget. Or the number of times nimeona Ngatia on stage, and the recent performance ya Ogutu at Kwani, which iko hapa na hapa ni on Instagram, huko YouTube, enda Instagram on hiyo performance, if not achana nayo. Aliperform story flani. Anyway, tume this digression imekuwa deep sana because of Orato here na rant yake. So Romy ana watch silently, atatuambia kama amekubali mwaliko ama kama bado ako na machungu pia yeye juu ya kile Babu amesema, ama ni yeye ana feel Babu got away. Yo, settle this before I schedule a date for this live on storytelling. Itakuwa Ahsante, just so you know. Babu anasema Bambi was at the event, ameisha. She left early. So ni ukweli. Romeo anasema mimi nitasema jina moja, Eli Sketch. You see, the dynamism of this conversation is beautiful because kuna various viewpoints that we are coming in from, that ningependa this same dynamic ipatikane pale. No rato, hii ni banter tu. No need to apologize. Hii platform, it's one of one. Trust me, it's one of one. So nilikuwa nasema nilikuwa naongelea music writer exercise before tuongele storytelling, na to come up na a live discussion during this live that tutapangia na we have na Orato, Babu, Hazel na Romy. If you're watching this baadaye on IG, baadaye on YouTube, ujue that those are the 4 names, mimi included, wenye wanafaa kukua kwa hiyo live ya storytelling. So if 1 or 2 or this never happens, you know whom to hold accountable and whom to haunt with ridiculing sentiments for the rest of your life. Orato, Babu na Hazel, hao ndo watu wenye unafaa kuhanda. I'm loving the almost romances being shared here. These stories should come out for real. Hey, hii platform, once you are in, once you go sana kwa sana, you never go back. You're done. Ni hivyo. Toko na kuja tena na tena na tena na tena na tena. For these sessions, zinakuanga this beautiful. No, na ikianza ilikuwa kitu technical na serious kuhusu Spotify, alafu here we are an hour and 22 minutes later. It can go for 3 or 4 or more. Bobo says my heart is broken. I can't be held accountable for my act. You will. In Irauka's voice, I know you remember this, Julie Kwapo, when a Hazel. This is not a promise. It's a threat. Or, this is not a threat. It's a promise. Pick your poison. Orato ana agree, anasema Eli Sketch is wonderful. So easy perspectives na dynamics ningependa kuziona on that live when we discuss storytelling, na these exact sentiments that zimekuwa shared ziwe expanded on. Now, as I was saying, tumongelea Spotify yenye Babu doesn't care about. Alafu tuna get into MWE, music writer exercise. So ilianzishwa na Gary Suarez, imemtaja as an American music journalist mwenye nilikama across in 2018 2019. Nikasoma kazi zake, nikaanza kumfollow on Twitter kujua zaidi kumhusu. Kisha in February of 2019, maybe a day or 2 before the actual challenge na exercise, or 2 days into the exercise,